Hey folks, have you ever felt like life threw you a curveball and you had to hit the reset button? That's the kind of vibe that makes Night School from 2018 such a hilarious and relatable ride. I'm here to tell you why this movie deserves a spot on your watch list. It's packed with laughs, heart, and that feel-good energy that reminds us it's never too late to chase your dreams. If you're into comedies that blend sharp wit with real-life struggles, this one's for you. Let me break it down, sharing every little detail about what makes this film tick, from the powerhouse cast to the behind-the-scenes magic, all without giving away any of the plot twists that keep you glued to the screen. Trust me, by the end of this, you'll be reaching for the remote. First off, let's talk about the star power driving this comedy gem. Kevin Hart leads the charge as the main character, bringing his signature high-energy humor and impeccable timing that's made him a household name. You know Kevin from blockbusters like Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, and Ride Along, where he turns everyday chaos into comedy gold. In Night School, he channels that same infectious enthusiasm, making you root for him every step of the way. Pairing up with him is the unstoppable Tiffany Haddish, who's like a comedic force of nature. Fresh off her breakout in Girls Trip, Tiffany brings that raw, unfiltered charisma that lights up every scene she's in. Her chemistry with Kevin is electric. It's like watching two pros bounce off each other in the best possible way, creating moments that have you laughing out loud. But the cast doesn't stop there. It's loaded with talent that adds layers of fun and depth. Rob Riggle plays a key role, known for his over-the-top antics in films like The Hangover and Step Brothers. His deadpan delivery and physical comedy fit right into the mix. Then there's Romany Malco, who you might recognize from The 40-Year-Old Virgin or Weeds. He brings a smooth, sarcastic edge that's perfect for the ensemble dynamic. Taran Killam from Saturday Night Live fame pops in with his quirky charm, adding those unexpected laughs that catch you off guard. Mary Lynn Rajskub, famous for 24, delivers her unique brand of awkward humor, while Al Madrigal, a stand-up comedian turned actor, injects some clever one-liners. Fat Joe makes a cameo as himself, bringing that hip-hop flair, and Ben Schwartz, the voice of Sonic the Hedgehog, sneaks in some quick-witted moments. Even smaller roles, like those played by Yvonne Orji from Insecure and Keith David with his commanding presence from Greenleaf, round out this diverse group. It's like a comedy all-star team, each actor feeding off the others to create a vibrant, chaotic energy that feels authentic and endlessly entertaining. Now, who's the mastermind behind the camera? That would be director Malcolm D. Lee, a guy who's no stranger to crafting crowd-pleasing comedies with heart. You'll probably know him from Girls Trip, which was a massive hit in 2017, or classics like The Best Man and its sequels. Malcolm has this knack for blending humor with relatable themes, and in Night School, he amps up the laughs while keeping things grounded in real emotions. He collaborated closely with Kevin Hart, who not only stars, but also co-wrote and produced the film. The screenplay is a team effort. Kevin Hart penned it alongside Harry Ratchford, Joey Wells, Matthew Kellard, Nicholas Stoller, and John Hamburg. Nicholas Stoller, known for Forgetting Sarah Marshall and Neighbors, brings that sharp, character-driven writing, while John Hamburg from Zoolander and Meet the Parents adds those absurd, escalating comedy beats. This writing crew ensures the dialogue pops with quick-fire jokes and memorable lines that stick with you long after the credits roll. Speaking of production, Night School was brought to life by Will Packer Productions and Heartbeat Productions, with Kevin Hart and Will Packer as the main producers. Will Packer's got a track record of hits like Think Like a Man and Ride Along, so he knows how to make films that resonate with wide audiences. They teamed up with Universal Pictures for distribution, which gave the movie that big studio polish. The budget? It came in at around $29 million, not a massive blockbuster spend, but smartly allocated to maximize the comedy without relying on over-the-top effects. Most of that went into assembling the stellar cast, shooting in practical locations, and creating those hilarious set pieces that feel organic and fun. Filming took place primarily in Atlanta, Georgia, which has become a hotspot for movie productions thanks to its tax incentives and diverse urban backdrops. They captured the essence of everyday city life, from bustling streets to quirky classrooms, making the world of the film feel lived in and real. Let's dive a bit deeper into the technical side, because these details really show how much care went into making Night School shine. The cinematography was handled by Greg Gardner, who's worked on comedies like Little Fockers and Ride Along 2. He uses a dynamic style with quick cuts and vibrant lighting to keep the energy high, especially in the group scenes where the comedy builds like a snowball rolling downhill. The editing by Paul Millspaugh, known for Central Intelligence, keeps the pacing snappy. Clocking in at 111 minutes, the film never drags, zipping from one laugh to the next. Sound design plays a big role too. The score by David Newman, who's composed for films like Ice Age and Serenity, mixes upbeat tracks with funky beats to amp up the mood. And the soundtrack? It's a banger, featuring artists like Fat Joe with All the Way Up, DJ Khaled's For Free, and classics from Earth, Wind and Fire like September. These songs aren't just background noise. They enhance the comedic timing and give the movie that extra layer of fun, making you want to dance in your seat. One of the things I love about Night School is how it tackles themes like perseverance and self-improvement in a way that's inspiring without being preachy. It's all about second chances, wrapped in a package of slapstick humor and witty banter. That's why it's perfect for anyone who's ever felt stuck or needed a push to try something new. The film explores adult education in a fresh, funny light, showing how diverse people from all walks of life come together in unexpected ways. And with its PG-13 rating, it's great for teens and adults alike. Some strong language and suggestive humor, but nothing that pushes boundaries too far. It's the kind of movie you can watch with friends or family for a good time, sparking conversations about your own what-if moments. Now let's talk release and reception, because this film made waves when it hit theaters. Night School premiered on September 28, 2018 in the United States, distributed by Universal Pictures. It opened strong, pulling in over $27 million in its first weekend, topping the box office charts. Worldwide, it grossed more than $103 million, proving that audiences were hungry for this brand of comedy. Critics had mixed feelings. On Rotten Tomatoes, it holds a 27% approval rating from critics, but a solid 62% from audiences, showing it's more of a crowd pleaser than a critic's darling. Metacritic gives it a 43 out of 100, with reviews praising the cast's chemistry but noting the humor can be hit or miss. But hey, that's comedy for you. It's subjective, and for many, the hits land hard. Publications like The Hollywood Reporter called out Kevin and Tiffany's dynamic as a highlight, while Variety appreciated the film's message of empowerment. User reviews on sites like IMDb average around 5.6 out of 10, with fans loving the laughs and relatability, especially if you're a Kevin Hart enthusiast. Behind the scenes, there are some cool, fun facts that add to the movie's charm. Kevin Hart actually based parts of the story on his own life experiences, drawing from times when he felt like he needed to level up. He and Tiffany Haddish improvised a lot of their scenes, which explains the natural flow of their banter. Malcolm D. Lee encouraged that freedom to capture authentic comedy. The Night School setting was inspired by real adult education programs, and the production team consulted with educators to get the details right, from classroom setups to the challenges students face. Filming in Atlanta meant dealing with real weather. Some outdoor scenes were shot in the humid Georgia heat, which added to the cast's sweaty, chaotic energy on screen. And did you know the film features product placements like Coca-Cola and Under Armour? It's subtle, but it grounds the movie in everyday reality. Promotion for Night School was on point, with Kevin Hart using his massive social media following to hype it up. Trailers dropped months in advance, teasing the hilarious ensemble without spoiling the fun. There were red carpet premieres in Los Angeles and New York where the cast shared stories about their on-set antics, like how Tiffany would crack everyone up between takes. The marketing campaign focused on the back-to-school theme, tying in with the fall release to appeal to audiences ready for lighthearted entertainment after summer blockbusters. Home video release came in January 2019, with DVD, Blu-ray, and digital options, including bonus features like deleted scenes, a gag reel, and commentary from Kevin and Malcolm. Those extras give you a peek into the making-of process, showing how much improv shaped the final cut. If you're wondering about awards, Night School didn't sweep the Oscars. It's a comedy, after all. But it did get nods at the People's Choice Awards, where Kevin Hart won for Comedy Movie Star, and the film was nominated for Favorite Comedy Movie. Tiffany Haddish also picked up traction for her performance, adding to her rising star status. The movie's success even sparked talks of a sequel, though nothing official has materialized yet. It's influenced other comedies by showing that stories about personal growth can be box office hits when mixed with star power and humor. What really sets Night School apart is its cultural impact. In a time when adulting feels overwhelming, this film celebrates resilience with a diverse cast that reflects real America, from different ethnicities to ages and backgrounds. It's empowering, especially for underrepresented groups, seeing characters chase education and success on their terms. Kevin Hart's production involvement highlights his journey from stand-up to mogul, inspiring aspiring filmmakers. And Tiffany's role cements her as a leading lady in comedy, breaking barriers for women of color in Hollywood. So, why should you watch Night School? Because it's more than just laughs. It's a reminder that life's detours can lead to the best stories. The cast delivers non-stop energy, the direction keeps it fresh, and the themes hit home without feeling forced. Whether you're having a movie night solo or with pals, this 2018 comedy will leave you smiling and maybe even motivated. Grab some popcorn, hit play, and let the good times roll. You won't regret it. It's the perfect pick-me-up in a world that could use more humor. Let me expand on the production design, because that's another layer that makes the film pop. The production designer, Keith Brian Burns, who's worked on The Walking Dead and *Halt and Catch Fire*, created sets that feel authentic to a night school environment. Think fluorescent-lit classrooms with mismatched desks, motivational posters on the walls, and that slight clutter that screams real life. Costume designer Sakina Brown dressed the characters in everyday attire that reflects their personalities. Kevin's character in casual streetwear that evolves subtly. Tiffany in bold, confident outfits that match her larger-than-life presence. Makeup and hair teams, led by professionals like Tara D. Day, ensured everyone looked relatable, yet camera-ready, with natural looks that enhance the comedy without distracting. Sound mixing by Willie D. Burton and Greg Orloff, both Oscar winners for other projects, captures the chaotic classroom vibes perfectly. Echoing voices, slamming doors, and background chatter that immerse you in the scene. Visual effects were minimal, handled by a small team, mostly for seamless integrations like digital enhancements and action-y comedy bits, keeping the budget focused on talent. Distribution-wise, Universal handled international releases, dubbing the film in multiple languages for markets in Europe, Asia, and Latin America. It performed well overseas, adding to that $103 million global haul. Streaming availability has varied. It's popped up on platforms like Netflix and Peacock, making it easy to access today. Critically, while some reviewers felt the humor relied too much on stereotypes, others praised its heart. Roger Ebert's site gave it 2 stars, noting the cast saves it, while the New York Times appreciated the empowerment angle. Audience scores tell a different story. Many call it underrated, perfect for a chill evening. Fun fact: the film's title sequence features animated elements that set a playful tone, designed by a team that worked on similar intros for other comedies, and Kevin Hart promoted it on his comedy tour, blending stand-up bits with movie teases. In terms of legacy, Night School joins the ranks of feel-good comedies like School of Rock, but with a modern twist on adult learning. It's inspired memes and quotes that still circulate online, like catchphrases from Tiffany's character that fans love to repeat. If you're into trivia, the script went through several revisions. Originally, it was more focused on Kevin's solo journey, but expanded to highlight the group dynamic after test screenings. Shooting wrapped in under 3 months, a tight schedule that kept the energy fresh. Merchandise tied to the film included t-shirts with funny quotes, back-to-school themed items, and even a video game app promo, though short-lived. Let's keep rolling with why Night School from 2018 is the comedy you need in your life right now. Picture this: you're kicking back after a long day, wanting something that hits with big laughs, genuine heart, and characters who feel like real people just trying to figure it out. That's exactly what this film delivers, and I'm here narrating every juicy detail so you can see why it's worth your time. No spoilers, just pure excitement about what makes it tick. We've already covered the stars, the director, the writers, the budget of $29 million that turned into over $103 million worldwide, the Atlanta shoot, the killer soundtrack, and all that production magic. Now let's dive even deeper into the cast's individual shine, the behind-the-scenes stories that make it special, the little trivia nuggets, the technical wizardry, and why this movie still feels fresh and motivating years later. Stick with me. This is going to be your ultimate guide before you hit play. Starting with the ensemble again, because this group is what elevates the whole thing from good to unforgettable. Kevin Hart plays Teddy Walker, the fast-talking salesman whose world flips upside down in the most chaotic way. His energy is non-stop. He's bouncing off the walls with that signature mix of panic, charm, and quick wit. You can tell he's having a blast, and it rubs off on you. Then Tiffany Haddish as Carrie, the tough but fair night school teacher who's got zero patience for nonsense but a hidden soft spot. Her delivery is razor sharp. She steals scenes with just a look or a perfectly timed line. Their back and forth is comedy gold. It's like watching two comedy titans spar in the best way possible. Rob Riggle as Mackenzie brings this lovable, dim but kind giant vibe. He's the guy who's been grinding physically for years, dreaming of something easier, and his physical comedy, those big, clumsy moments, lands every time. Romany Malco as Jalen adds that cool, sarcastic edge. He's the one who's been hit hard by life changes, like losing a job to tech, and his dry humor cuts through the chaos perfectly. Taran Killam as Stuart, the uptight principal and old high school rival, nails that smug, buttoned-up type who slowly unravels in hilarious ways. Megalyn Echikunwoke as Lisa, Teddy's sophisticated girlfriend, brings class and contrast to the madness. She's the voice of reason in a storm of absurdity. Then you've got Al Madrigal as Luis, the waiter with big dreams and a thick accent that leads to some of the film's most side-splitting misunderstandings. His timing is impeccable. Mary Lynn Rajskub as Teresa delivers that awkward, relatable mom energy who's dealing with her own baggage. Keith David as Gerald, the wise older student, commands respect with his deep voice and no-nonsense attitude. He's like the group's quiet anchor. Ann Winters as Mela adds youthful spark. Ben Schwartz as Marvin brings quirky nerdiness. Yvonne Orji as Maya injects confidence and sass. Brescia Webb as Denise rounds out the class with warmth. And don't sleep on Fat Joe as Bobby. He pops in with that larger-than-life presence and drops some memorable lines. Even smaller parts, like Donna Bisco as Gladys or Owen Harn as Randy, feel lived in and add texture to the classroom scenes. The way Malcolm D. Lee directs this crew is masterful. He gives everyone space to shine while keeping the group dynamic tight. From interviews around the release, Malcolm talked about how he wanted to capture that Breakfast Club spirit for adults, misfits from different walks coming together under pressure. He encouraged improv, especially with Kevin and Tiffany, letting them riff in the classroom to keep things organic. Kevin has said in chats that a lot of his best lines came from on-the-spot ideas, and Malcolm was all about that freedom because it made the humor feel real. The production wrapped in a tight schedule in Atlanta, dealing with that sticky southern heat that probably fueled some of the sweaty, frantic energy on screen. Fun fact, the film shipped to theaters under the fake title Christian Chickens to keep things under wraps, classic Hollywood secrecy move. The script's journey is fascinating too. Kevin Hart co-wrote it with his longtime collaborators Harry Ratchford, Joey Wells, and Matt Kellard, plus heavy hitters Nicholas Stoller and John Hamburg. It started from Kevin's own thoughts about second chances and adult education. He drew from real-life inspirations about people going back to school later in life. The writers layered in diverse characters so everyone could see a bit of themselves. The laid-off worker, the single parent, the dreamer, the hustler. It's not preachy, but it sneaks in messages about perseverance, learning differences, and believing in yourself that hit without feeling forced. Technically, everything clicks. Greg Gardner's cinematography uses warm, inviting lighting in the classroom to make it feel like a safe space amid the comedy storm. Quick cuts during the group banter keep the pace flying, edited by Paul Millspaw, who knows how to build laughs without letting them drag. Production designer Keith Brian Burns recreated that authentic night school look. Flickering fluorescents, outdated posters, creaky desks that anyone who's been in adult ed will recognize instantly. Costumes by Sakina Brown evolve subtly. Teddy starts flashy but loosens up. Carrie stays bold and no nonsense. David Newman's score pumps upbeat, funky energy that matches the vibe, and the soundtrack drops bangers like All the Way Up and September at perfect moments to amp up the feel-good factor. Box office-wise, it opened huge, 27 million plus in its first weekend, topping charts and proving comedies with Hart still win big. It ended with 77 million domestic, 103 million worldwide on that modest 29 million budget. Smart, profitable filmmaking. Critics were split, but audiences loved it. B+ cinema score, solid user ratings, fans calling it underrated for its laughs and positivity. It even got People's Choice nods, with Kevin winning Comedy Movie Star. There was talk of a TV spin-off pilot that didn't go forward, but the film's legacy lives on in memes, quotes, and rewatches. Trivia time. Kevin improvised tons of classroom bits, which is why they feel so alive. The gag reel on the home release is gold, showing flubs and corpsing that prove how much fun the set was. Deleted scenes expand on character moments, and the extended cut adds even more laughs. Filming included real Atlanta locations for that grounded feel, and the team consulted educators to get the GED process details right without turning it into a lecture. What I love most is how Night School celebrates everyday people chasing better. In a world full of pressure, it says, hey, it's okay to start over, to struggle, to laugh at yourself while you grow. The diverse cast reflects real life, different ages, backgrounds, challenges, and their camaraderie is infectious. Malcolm D. Lee has this gift for blending raunchy humor with warmth, like in Girls Trip, and here it's dialed in perfectly for PG-13 fun suitable for teens up. We're not done yet. Let's keep the momentum going on why Night School from 2018 is still one of those comedies that just hits different. If you've been following along, you know we've unpacked the star-studded cast, led by Kevin Hart and Tiffany Haddish, the sharp direction from Malcolm D. Lee, the clever script co-written by Kevin himself, along with Harry Ratchford, Joey Wells, Matt Kellard, Nicholas Stoller, and John Hamburg. The smart $29 million budget that ballooned into over $103 million worldwide, the Atlanta filming vibes, the funky soundtrack, and all those production gems. Now, let's zoom in even more on the supporting players' backstories, some juicy behind-the-scenes secrets from interviews and set visits, the improv magic that made scenes pop, the home video extras that add replay value, the brief awards buzz, and why this movie's message about second chances and overcoming obstacles feels so timeless. No plot giveaways here, just more reasons to press play and laugh your way through it. Let's spotlight a few more standout cast members and what they bring to the table. Take Megalyn Echikunwoke as Lisa. She's Teddy's polished, successful girlfriend who represents that aspirational life he's trying to fake his way into. Megalyn's got this effortless grace from roles in shows like The 100 and Arrow, and she contrasts perfectly with the chaos around her, adding that layer of, "what are you even doing?" energy without saying much. Yvonne Orji as Maya brings confident, no-filter sass. You know her from Insecure, and she nails the supportive friend vibe with quick wit. Brescia Webb as Denise adds warmth and relatability. She's the kind of classmate who keeps things grounded amid the madness. Then there's Ben Schwartz as Marvin, the quirky tech guy with big ideas. Ben's comedic timing from Parks and Recreation and voicing Sonic shines in his eccentric moments. Keith David as Gerald is the veteran of the group, delivering gravitas with that iconic deep voice from everything from The Thing to They Live. His presence gives the class a wise, anchoring feel. Ann Winters as Mila brings deadpan hipster energy, playing a privileged kid forced into night school. Her dry humor lands perfectly. And Fat Joe as Bobby? He shows up with star power and drops lines that stick, drawing from his real-life charisma as a rapper and actor. From set visits and interviews back in 2018, the energy on location in Atlanta was electric. Kevin Hart and Tiffany Haddish, longtime friends, leaned hard into improv. Malcolm D. Lee encouraged it, saying in press chats that no one improvises like they do. Tiffany even joked about accidentally whooping herself while trying to playfully hit Kevin in one intense scene, landing a few real smacks in the heat of the moment. The writers, Kevin's crew plus Stoller and Hamburg, built the script through multiple drafts, iterating on the classmates' motivations to create a round robin of real-life reasons people end up in adult ed. Job loss to automation, family pressures, bad high school experiences, you name it. They wanted diversity in backgrounds so viewers could see themselves. Kevin drew from personal inspirations for Teddy's journey, talking in interviews about how the story stemmed from thoughts on second chances and pushing through learning challenges. The team consulted real educators to portray the GED process authentically, testing for things like dyslexia and dyscalculia, alternative teaching methods, without turning it into a documentary. That authenticity grounds the wild comedy. On set, the cast bonded over shared laughs. Riggle brought his physical comedy chops, turning clumsy moments into gold. Romany Malco added sarcastic depth, while Al Madrigal's character Luis sparked some of the biggest misunderstandings and hilarity through language barriers and over-the-top reactions. Mary Lynn Rajskub infused her role with awkward mom realness, and Taran Killam as the principal Stewart nailed that cringy, out-of-touch authority figure who tries too hard with slang. The home video release on January 1, 2019, digital a bit earlier in December 2018, included goodies like deleted scenes that flesh out character quirks, a hilarious gag reel full of flubs and corpsing, especially from Kevin and Tiffany, and behind-the-scenes featurettes showing how improv shaped the final cut. Commentary tracks with Kevin and Malcolm dive into the process, making rewatches even better. Box office-wise, it opened strong with about 27 to 28 million in its first weekend from over 3,000 theaters, topping the charts and beating expectations for a comedy that year. It held well, pulling in 77.3 million domestic and adding international to hit 103.1 million total. Solid profit on that 29 million budget. Critics gave mixed reviews, around 27 to 31% on Rotten Tomatoes, but audiences showed up with higher scores and a B+ cinema score, proving it connected where it counted. It snagged some People's Choice Award nominations, with Kevin winning for Comedy Movie Star and the film up for Favorite Comedy Movie. No major Oscar buzz. It's not that kind of film, but it celebrated crowd-pleasing laughs and empowerment. A cool side note, NBC developed a TV pilot spin-off in 2020, with Shanola Hampton stepping into Tiffany's teacher role. Though it didn't go to series, still, it shows the concept had legs. What keeps Night School fresh is its blend of raunchy PG-13 humor, crude jokes, language, some drug references, with heartfelt beats about perseverance, learning differences, and community. The classroom feels like a real melting pot. The overworked parent, the displaced worker, the dreamer, the hustler, all pushing through together. Malcolm's direction keeps the pace lively with quick edits, dynamic camera work, and set pieces that escalate the chaos perfectly. The production design nailed that fluorescent-lit, slightly worn night school aesthetic. Posters about motivation, mismatched chairs, the faint hum of adulthood struggles. Costumes reflect personalities, bold for Carrie, evolving casual for Teddy, everyday for the class. The score and songs punctuate the fun without overpowering. If you're in the mood for a movie that makes you laugh hard, feel seen in your own adulting messes, and walk away a little more motivated, this is it. Kevin Hart's high-octane charm, Tiffany Haddish's fearless energy, and a supporting cast firing on all cylinders make every minute count. It's 111 minutes of escape, heart, and hilarity, perfect for a solo unwind or group watch where everyone ends up quoting lines. Picking right up where we left off, let's keep unpacking the magic of Night School from 2018, because this comedy doesn't just entertain, it sneaks in those life lessons wrapped in belly laughs that make you think, hey, maybe I should give that a shot too. We've covered the powerhouse duo of Kevin Hart and Tiffany Haddish, the full ensemble's quirks, Malcolm D. Lee's spot-on direction, the collaborative script from Kevin and his team including Harry Ratchford, Joey Wells, Matt Kellard, Nicholas Stoller, and John Hamburg, the efficient $29 million budget turning into a $103 million global success, the Atlanta filming adventures, the immersive production design, the snappy editing, the upbeat score and soundtrack, the home video extras, and that crowd-pleasing reception. Now, let's explore even more about the character inspirations, the on-set chemistry that sparked real magic, some lesser-known production hurdles they overcame, the marketing push that got everyone talking, the cultural ripples it's made since release, and why it's a film that rewards multiple viewings with new laughs every time. Trust me, by the time we're done, you'll be convinced this is the feel-good comedy to brighten your day. Diving into the characters a bit more, because they're what make Night School feel like a hangout with old friends. Kevin Hart's Teddy Walker is this everyman hustler, always scheming, always optimistic, even when life knocks him down. Kevin infused him with his own high-energy personality, but toned it with vulnerability that shows through in quieter moments. It's that balance that makes Teddy so relatable. We've all had those fake-it-till-you-make-it phases. Tiffany Haddish's Carrie is the no-nonsense educator who's seen it all. Her tough exterior hides a passion for helping people level up, and Tiffany draws from her own life experiences, like her time as a special ed teacher before comedy took off. She brings authenticity to the role, making Carrie's motivational rants both hilarious and inspiring. The classmates are a highlight too. Rob Riggle's Mackenzie is the big-hearted brute who's tired of manual labor and dreams of a desk job. Rob's military background adds real weight to his physical comedy, like when he overdoes it in group activities. Romany Malco's Jalen is the tech-savvy guy displaced by robots, channeling that frustration into sarcastic quips that cut deep but land funny. Taran Killam's Stuart, the principal, is this petty, grudge-holding type from Teddy's past. Taran's SNL experience shines in his exaggerated expressions and awkward attempts at coolness. Megalyn Echikunwoke's Lisa is the ambitious partner pushing for more. Her poise contrasts the group's messiness perfectly. Al Madrigal's Luis brings cultural flair with his immigrant story and accent-driven mishaps that spark chain-reaction laughs. Mary Lynn Rajskub's Teresa is the overwhelmed mom juggling everything. Her deadpan awkwardness from 24 fits like a glove. Keith David's Gerald offers sage advice with booming authority, grounding the ensemble. Ann Winter's Mila is the eye-rolling millennial. Yvonne Orgy's Maya is the bold encourager. Brescia Webb's Denise is the empathetic glue. Ben Schwartz's Marvin is the geeky inventor. And Fat Joe's Bobby adds street-smart swagger. On-set stories from 2018 press tours paint a picture of pure fun. The Atlanta shoot in 2017 lasted about 10 weeks, with the cast often cracking up mid-take. Kevin and Tiffany's improv sessions would stretch scenes longer, but Malcolm D. Lee knew when to reel it in. One anecdote. During a heated classroom debate, Rob Riggle ad-libbed a line so ridiculous it had everyone in stitches, including the crew, forcing multiple reshoots. The heat was brutal. Summer in Georgia meant sweaty exteriors that added to the film's gritty, real feel. Production hurdles included last-minute script tweaks after test screenings showed audiences wanted more group interactions, so they reshot bits to amp up the ensemble chemistry. Will Packer, the producer alongside Kevin, kept things efficient, drawing from his hits like Straight Outta Compton to balance budget with big laughs. Marketing was genius. Universal dropped trailers in summer 2018, teasing the chaos without spoilers, focusing on Kevin's mishaps and Tiffany's tough love. Kevin toured with stand-up sets incorporating movie bits, while Tiffany hit talk shows sharing wild stories. Social media buzzed with cast posts from set, and tie-ins like back-to-school promos with partners like Target got families excited. The red carpet premiere in LA featured the whole crew, with Kevin joking about how the film mirrored his own hustle mindset. Since release on September 28, 2018, Night School has rippled culturally. It spotlighted adult education, partnering with GED programs for awareness campaigns. Kevin's Heartbeat Productions grew from this success, leading to more projects. Tiffany's star rose higher, landing roles in The Kitchen and beyond. The film influenced comedies like Booksmart by showing diverse groups bonding over growth. Memes from scenes, like exaggerated reactions or catchphrases, still pop up online, and it's a go-to for motivational playlists. Rewatch value is high. The 111-minute runtime flies by, with layers of jokes you miss first time. The PG-13 rating keeps it accessible. Crude humor, language, mild violence and comedic bits, but family-friendly enough. Themes of dyslexia, job loss, and self-doubt resonate, especially post-pandemic when many re-evaluated paths. The technical team deserves more shout-outs. Cinematographer Greg Gardner used handheld cams for intimate chaos. Editor Paul Millspaw trimmed for punchy timing. Sound designers captured every snicker and slam, while visual effects subtly enhanced gags without stealing focus. David Newman's score mixes hip-hop beats with orchestral swells for emotional peaks. Box office details. It debuted at number 1, edging out Smallfoot, and held strong against A Star is Born. International appeal came from universal themes, dubs in Spanish, French, etc., helped overseas earnings. Let's keep this deep dive rolling because Night School from 2018 truly deserves every bit of love we're giving it right now. It's one of those rare comedies that sneaks up on you with genuine warmth while still delivering the kind of non-stop side-splitting laughs that make your cheeks hurt in the best possible way. We've already gone through the electric chemistry between Kevin Hart and Tiffany Haddish. the rock-solid supporting cast that feels like a real classroom full of dreamers and survivors. Malcolm D. Lee's masterful handling of tone and pacing, the smart writing collaboration that blended Kevin's personal touch with the sharp instincts of Nicholas Stoller and John Hamburg, the lean $29 million production that punched way above its weight to gross over $103 million worldwide, the vibrant Atlanta shoot that captured the sweat and hustle of real life, the production design that made every creaky desk and motivational poster feel authentic, the editing that never lets the energy dip, the soundtrack choices that hit you right in the nostalgia, the home video bonuses that turn rewatches into events, the box office story that proved audiences still crave feel-good ensemble comedies, and the quiet cultural impact that keeps people quoting lines years later. Now, let's peel back even more layers. Let's talk about the subtle performance choices, the rehearsal process that built trust among the cast, the real-world inspirations that shaped certain story beats, the marketing decisions that position this film perfectly for fall audiences, the way the movie handles adult learning themes with respect and humor, the small technical triumphs that often go unnoticed, and why this particular comedy has aged so gracefully in a world that keeps changing faster than ever. Take a moment to think about how Kevin Hart actually prepared for Teddy. He didn't just show up and be funny. He spent time shadowing people in sales jobs, people who talk fast and think even faster, because he wanted Teddy's hustle to feel lived in rather than cartoonish. You can see it in the way he moves through scenes, always one step ahead, always improvising his way out of trouble, but with that flicker of real fear underneath when things get serious. Kevin has spoken in interviews about how he wanted to show a man who looks confident on the outside but is quietly terrified of being exposed, and that vulnerability gives the comedy extra weight. Tiffany Haddish approached Carrie the same way. She pulled from her own brief experience substitute teaching in special education classrooms, remembering how she had to balance firmness with encouragement. She practiced different tones in the mirror, figuring out exactly when Carrie should snap and when she should soften, and that authenticity makes every one of her motivational speeches land like a punchline and a pep talk at the same time. The rest of the cast had their own quiet preparations too. Rob Riggle actually worked out extra hard before shooting so he could pull off the physical comedy without looking like he was trying too hard. His character Mackenzie is supposed to be strong but clumsy, and Rob nailed that line between intimidating and lovable. Romany Malco spent time talking to friends who lost jobs to automation, getting the frustration just right so his sarcasm would feel earned rather than mean. Taran Killam rehearsed his principal character with a coach to perfect that awkward, try-hard energy. Those moments where Stewart attempts to use current slang and completely misses the mark are painful in the funniest way. Al Madrigal leaned into his own family stories for Luis, making sure the language barrier gags were clever rather than cruel. Mary Lynn Rajskub brought notebooks full of single-mom observations to her scenes as Teresa, giving her quiet desperation a heartbreaking edge that makes the laughs hit harder. Keith David, with his legendary voice, practiced delivering lines at different volumes so Gerald could command the room without ever shouting. Every single actor treated their role like it mattered, and that respect for the material is why the group scenes feel so alive. Rehearsals were key. Malcolm D. Lee brought the entire cast together for several days before cameras rolled, running through classroom sequences over and over, letting everyone find their rhythm with each other. Those sessions were where a lot of the best improv was born. Someone would throw out a line, another would top it, and suddenly a throwaway moment became a recurring bit. Malcolm has said he wanted the classroom to feel like a pressure cooker where personalities clash and then slowly start to mesh, and those rehearsal days were crucial for building that trust. The Atlanta heat helped too. By the time they were shooting long days in those stuffy classrooms, everyone was already a little delirious, which fed directly into the frustrated, sweaty, hilarious energy on screen. The film also did something quietly brave by showing different learning challenges without turning them into after-school special moments. Certain characters deal with things like dyslexia or math anxiety, and the movie treats those struggles with humor, but never mockery. Malcolm and the writers consulted with educators and people who run adult education programs to get the details accurate. How tests are structured, how teachers adapt lessons, how small victories feel massive when you've been out of school for years. That research shows in every classroom scene. You believe these people are actually learning, even when everything around them is falling apart in the funniest ways. Marketing-wise, Universal played it perfectly for a late September release. They leaned into the back-to-school season, even though this was night school for grown-ups, running ads that showed Kevin in panic mode while Tiffany delivered tough love. Kevin used his massive social media reach to post set photos and short clips, building anticipation without revealing too much. Tiffany did late-night shows and podcasts, telling stories about how much fun the shoot was and how real the cast became with each other. The trailer drops were timed to hit right when people were thinking about new beginnings, fall, new routines, resolutions, and the film rode that wave all the way to #1 at the box office. Years later, what stands out most is how gracefully Night School has aged. In an era when so many comedies lean on cynicism or shock value, this one stays optimistic without being naive. It celebrates people who refuse to give up, who show up after dark because they want more for themselves and their families. The diverse cast, different ages, races, backgrounds, life experiences feels natural rather than forced, and the humor comes from personality clashes rather than cheap stereotypes. That's rare, and it's why people keep coming back to it. The 111-minute runtime never feels long because the jokes build on each other, the characters grow on you, and by the end you're invested in every single one of them. The technical side still impresses on repeat viewings too. Greg Gardner's cinematography uses a slightly warmer palette in the classroom than in the day-world scenes, subtly signaling that night school is a place of hope, even when it's chaotic. Paul Millspaugh's editing finds perfect comic timing in reaction shots. Watch how many laughs come from someone else's face rather than the person speaking. David Newman's score knows exactly when to pull back and let silence do the work, especially in quieter character moments. The sound team captured every little classroom detail. The squeak of chairs, the hum of fluorescent lights, the muffled arguments in the hallway. So you feel like you're sitting at one of those desks. We're still rolling strong on why Night School from 2018 remains such a standout comedy worth your time. It's got that perfect mix of wild energy, heartfelt moments, and characters who feel like they could walk right out of your own life struggles and into a classroom full of chaos. We've dug deep into the cast's individual prep work, the rehearsal days that turned strangers into a tight-knit group, the real consultations with educators to handle learning challenges respectfully, the fall marketing that nailed the new beginnings vibe, and how the film's optimistic spirit has held up beautifully over the years. Now let's layer in even more. The improv-heavy atmosphere that let the funniest bits emerge naturally, specific behind-the-scenes anecdotes from the Atlanta set, the home video extras that reveal what almost made it in, the extended cut differences, the precise box office journey including international numbers, the modest awards attention it got, and why this movie quietly champions everyday resilience in a way that resonates especially if you're grinding through your own second chances, no matter where you are. One of the biggest strengths is how much improv shaped the final product. Kevin Hart has talked openly about how Malcolm D. Lee gave the cast freedom to play, especially in those classroom sequences. Kevin would throw out a wild line or physical bit, Tiffany Haddish would fire back with something even sharper, and suddenly the scene would explode in ways the script never had on paper. The writers, Kevin's core team of Joey Wells, Harry Ratchford, and Matt Kellard, plus Nicholas Stoller and John Hamburg, were often on set, tweaking dialogue on the fly after watching takes. They'd huddle at the end of the day, incorporating the best ad-libs into reshoots or pickups. That organic process is why the banter feels so alive. It's not just scripted jokes, it's real comedians riffing off each other's energy in a pressure cooker environment. Malcolm encouraged it because he knew the chemistry was gold, and it shows in every group meltdown or breakthrough moment. From set stories that came out during promotion, the Atlanta summer heat was no joke. Filming in those enclosed classrooms meant everyone was sweating buckets, which actually fed into the frustrated high-stakes comedy. One funny anecdote: during a particularly intense argument scene, Tiffany accidentally landed a real playful smack on Kevin while trying to sell the tough teacher bit. And they had to cut because everyone, including Kevin, was cracking up too hard to continue. Rob Riggle's physical gags often went off script. He'd overcommit to a clumsy move and end up taking down props or fellow actors, turning mishaps into keepers. Al Madrigal's character Luis had some of his best misunderstandings born from on-the-spot language play, drawing from his own stand-up roots. The cast would do warm-ups together, sharing stories from their lives. Single parents talking real struggles, people who'd gone back to school later in life, which helped infuse the humor with authenticity rather than just punchlines. The home video release packed in over an hour of extras that make owning it worthwhile. There's an extended cut of the film with additional footage that fleshes out character beats and adds more outrageous jokes. Some scenes run longer with extra improv riffs that were trimmed for theatrical pacing. An alternate opening changes the setup slightly, giving a different entry into Teddy's world. Deleted scenes, around 13 minutes worth, include extended classroom antics, more backstory on classmates, and bits that deepen the group dynamic without dragging the main story. The gag reel is pure gold. 11 minutes of flubs, corpsing, Kevin breaking character mid-speech, Tiffany losing it during serious moments, and the whole cast dissolving into laughter during what were supposed to be tense takes. There's also a fun featurette called Cap and Gown and Giggles, where Kevin turns a heartfelt graduation speech into an impromptu stand-up set on set, with everyone exploding around him. Director Malcolm D. Lee's commentary track walks through choices, praising the improv and explaining why certain cuts were made to keep the energy high. Box office-wise, the numbers tell a story of smart, profitable success. It opened September 28, 2018, with $27.3 million domestically from over 3,000 theaters, including $9.5 million on Friday, with Thursday previews at $1.35 million. That topped the weekend charts, beating out animated competition and marking the best comedy opening of 2018 up to that point. It held strong in week 2 with $12.5 million and continued earning through the fall. Domestically, it wrapped at $77.3 million. Internationally, it added about $25.8 million from various markets, solid for a comedy that leaned on American humor, but still connected through universal themes of second chances. Worldwide total, $103.1 million on that $29 million budget. Not a massive blockbuster, but a clear win that proved audiences wanted lighthearted, character-driven laughs. Awards weren't the focus, it's a broad comedy after all, but it got some love. Kevin Hart picked up a People's Choice nod and wins in comedy categories around that time, and the film was nominated for Teen Choice Awards in comedy movie and actor/actress spots for Kevin and Tiffany. Nothing Oscar level, but recognition from fans who voted with their tickets and hearts. What makes Night School endure is its quiet respect for the grind. It doesn't mock people chasing GEDs or dealing with learning hurdles. It celebrates them. The diverse misfits, single moms, laid-off workers, dreamers from different worlds come together, clash, support each other, and grow. In places like Satna or anywhere life's thrown curveballs, that message lands hard. It's never too late, and you've got people in your corner even if they start as strangers. Malcolm D. Lee's direction keeps it fun without losing the heart. Kevin and Tiffany anchor it with unstoppable charisma, and the ensemble makes every scene pop. We're deep into this love letter to Night School from 2018, and honestly, the more we peel back the layers, the more there is to appreciate about how this comedy quietly became one of the most underrated crowd pleasers of its year. It's got that rare ability to make you laugh until you're wiping tears while also leaving you with a subtle boost of motivation that lingers long after the credits roll. We've already explored the improv magic that turned scripted pages into living, breathing comedy gold, the sweaty Atlanta set stories that added real grit to the on-screen chaos, the thoughtful home video extras that reward fans who want to see what almost made the cut, the precise box office climb from a strong $27.3 million opening to a healthy $103.1 million worldwide haul on a lean $29 million budget, the modest but meaningful fan-voted awards nods, and the way the film treats adult education with genuine respect instead of cheap punchlines. Now let's sink even further into what makes the movie tick on a scene-by-scene level. The way Malcolm D. Lee uses rhythm and space to build comedy, the small visual and sound choices that amplify every joke, the layered character arcs that sneak up on you, the soundtrack integration that feels like another character in the room, and why this particular story about second chances, community, and refusing to quit resonates so powerfully for anyone who's ever stared at a closed door and decided to kick it open anyway, especially if you're out there grinding in a place like Satna where dreams don't always come with easy roadmaps. Malcolm D. Lee's direction is a masterclass in controlled chaos. He knows exactly when to let the camera linger on a reaction shot, so a single raised eyebrow or stifled snort becomes the biggest laugh in the room, and when to cut fast during the escalating group argument so the energy feels like it's about to explode off the screen. Those classroom sequences aren't just setups for jokes. They're mini symphonies of personality clashes where every person in the frame has their own rhythm. Kevin's rapid-fire panic, Tiffany's slow-burn authority, Rob Riggle's lumbering physicality, Romany Malco's dry sarcasm, Al Madrigal's explosive misunderstandings, and Malcolm orchestrates them like a conductor, letting one voice peak while the others simmer underneath, building tension until the whole thing pops in perfect comedic timing. He uses wide shots to show the full class as a dysfunctional family unit, then tight close-ups to catch the tiny tells, like a nervous fidget, a hidden smile, or a glance of quiet support, that make you root for these people even when they're at each other's throats. That balance of big, broad comedy with intimate human moments is what separates Night School from a lot of other ensemble films. It never loses sight of the fact that these are real adults with real stakes. Even when the jokes are flying fast and furious, the sound design deserves its own shout-out because it turns everyday classroom noise into comedic weapons. The squeak of a marker on a whiteboard, the metallic clang of a chair scraping back, the low hum of the air conditioner that suddenly feels deafening in awkward silences, the muffled arguments leaking from the hallway. All of it is layered so precisely that you feel like you're sitting in one of those uncomfortable plastic seats right alongside the characters. David Newman's score weaves in funky bass lines and upbeat horns during the high-energy montages, then pulls back to almost nothing during the quieter motivational beats, letting the actor's delivery carry the weight. And the soundtrack choices, those classic Earth, Wind, and Fire tracks like September dropping at just the right emotional peak, or hip-hop bangers from DJ Khaled and Fat Joe punctuating the hustle moments, aren't random. They're timed to mirror the characters' moods, lifting you when the group is rallying and underscoring the grind when someone's feeling defeated. It's subtle, but it makes the whole experience feel bigger than the screen. Character arcs unfold so naturally that you almost don't notice how much growth is happening until the end hits you. Teddy starts as this slick-talking guy who's spent his life dodging responsibility, but you watch him slowly confront the gaps in his education and the fears he's buried under bravado. Kevin plays those shifts with such nuance that the comedy never drowns out the heart. Carrie begins as the tough, no-nonsense teacher who's seen too many quitters, but her own backstory peeks through in small ways that make her investment in the class feel personal and urgent. Tiffany layers in that vulnerability without ever softening the edge that makes her so magnetic. The classmates each get their own quiet turning points. Jalen realizing tech isn't the enemy if he adapts, Mackenzie finding confidence beyond his muscles, Luis turning language barriers into strengths, Teresa balancing motherhood with her own dreams. And those moments are spaced out so they don't feel forced, but they build this sense of collective progress that makes the whole group feel like a real team by the finale. For anyone watching from a smaller city or a place where opportunities can feel limited, the film's message lands extra hard. Showing up after dark, after work, after life has already taken its shots isn't a sign of failure, it's proof of strength. The movie doesn't sugarcoat the embarrassment or the frustration of starting over, but it also doesn't let those feelings win. It says you can laugh at the mess, lean on people who get it, and keep moving forward anyway. That's why rewatches feel rewarding. The first time you laugh at the chaos, the second time you notice the support in the background, the third time you catch the little motivational beats that were hiding in plain sight all along. Let's kick things off by talking about what Night School is all about at its core. This is a comedy that follows a group of adults who find themselves back in the classroom, chasing their high school diplomas through a night school program. It's directed by Malcolm D. Lee, who's no stranger to blending humor with real-life vibes. You might know him from hits like Girls Trip or the Best Man series. Malcolm brings that same energy here, creating a story that's not just about laughs, but also about second chances, perseverance, and the wild ride of adulting. Imagine juggling work, life, and school all at once. That's the kind of relatable setup that hooks you right in. Now, why should you watch this? Well, for starters, it's got Kevin Hart in the lead role as Teddy Walker. Kevin isn't just starring, he's also one of the producers and even co-wrote the script. If you're a fan of his stand-up or movies like Ride Along or Jumanji, you know he brings that signature high-energy comedy, quick wit, and physical humor that keeps you cracking up. But here, he adds layers, showing vulnerability and growth that make his character someone you root for. Pair him with Tiffany Haddish as Carrie, the no-nonsense teacher who's got her own brand of tough love and hilarious one-liners. Tiffany exploded onto the scene with Girls Trip, and in Night School, she shines as this force of nature who's equal parts intimidating and inspiring. Their chemistry? Electric. It's like watching two comedy powerhouses bounce off each other in the best way possible. The supporting cast is stacked with talent that elevates every scene. We've got Rob Riggle as Mackenzie, bringing that over-the-top awkward humor he's known for from films like Step Brothers. Then there's Romany Malco as Jalen. You remember him from The 40-Year-Old Virgin, adding depth with his smooth, charismatic style. Taran Killam plays Stuart, channeling his Saturday Night Live sketch comedy roots into a character that's hilariously uptight. Megalyn Etchikun-Woke is Lisa, bringing elegance and spark from her roles in shows like Almost Family. Al Madrigal as Luis delivers those dry, observational laughs, drawing from his stand-up background. Mary Lynn Rajskub, famous as Chloe from 24, is Teresa, infusing the role with quirky intensity. Keith David lends his commanding voice and presence as Gerald. Think of his iconic parts in films like Platoon or They Live. Ann Winters plays Mila with youthful energy, Fat Joe appears as Bobby for some fun cameos, Ben Schwartz is Marvin with his fast-talking charm from Parks and Recreation, Yvonne Orji as Maya brings that insecure vibe, and Brisha Webb rounds it out as Denise with sharp timing. What makes this ensemble so special is how they represent a diverse group of people from all walks of life. Blue-collar workers, dreamers, skeptics, all thrown together in this night school chaos. It's like a modern-day Breakfast Club but for adults, and that's why it's so engaging. You see bits of yourself or people you know in these characters, and that connection pulls you in deeper. Behind the camera, the production team is top-notch. As I mentioned, Kevin Hart produced it alongside Will Packer, who's a powerhouse in comedy with credits like Think Like a Man and Ride Along. The screenplay was a collaborative effort. Kevin Hart teamed up with Harry Ratchford, Joey Wells, and Matthew Kellard for the initial story, then Nicholas Stoller, known for Neighbors, and John Hamburg from Meet the Parents polished it up. This mix of writers ensures the script is packed with punchy dialogue, escalating antics, and moments that feel authentically funny without relying on cheap gags. The film was shot primarily in Atlanta, Georgia, which stands in for the story's setting. They used real locations like local high schools and community centers to give it that grounded feel. Cinematographer Greg Gardner, who's worked on comedies like Elf and She's the Man, captures the vibrant energy with dynamic shots that keep the pace lively. The editing by Paul Millspaw ties it all together seamlessly, making sure the comedy flows without dragging. Now, let's talk numbers because this movie's success story is inspiring in itself. Night School was made on a budget of about $29 million. Not a blockbuster-level spend, but smartly allocated to focus on talent and practical sets rather than CGI overload. And boy, did it pay off. It grossed over $103 million worldwide, proving that audiences crave feel-good comedies with heart. It opened at number 1 at the box office, pulling in $27.3 million in its first weekend alone, beating out competitors like Smallfoot and The House with a Clock in its walls. Internationally, it did well in markets like the UK, Australia, and Germany, showing its universal appeal. Critically, it received mixed reviews, but that's part of what makes it interesting. On Rotten Tomatoes, it holds a 27% critic score but a whopping 62% audience score. Classic case of a crowd pleaser that resonates more with everyday viewers than critics. Metacritic gives it a 43 out of 100, with some praising the cast's chemistry, while others noted familiar tropes. But here's why that shouldn't deter you. Movies like this are designed for fun, not awards. Publications like The Hollywood Reporter called it energetic and likable, while Variety highlighted Tiffany Haddish's scene-stealing performance. Even RogerEbert.com gave it 2.5 stars, appreciating the themes of education and self-improvement. Speaking of themes, Night School isn't just slapstick. It dives into real issues like the importance of education in today's world, overcoming learning disabilities, and the stigma around adult education. It shines a light on how many people drop out of high school for various reasons: family pressures, financial needs, and the courage it takes to go back. Without spoiling anything, it handles topics like dyslexia sensitively, using humor to make profound points. It's empowering, especially for anyone who's ever felt like they missed out on opportunities. In a world where lifelong learning is key, this movie reminds us it's never too late to level up. The soundtrack is another highlight that amps up the energy. Composed by David Newman, who scored films like Ice Age and Serenity, it mixes upbeat tracks with comedic cues. You'll hear songs from artists like Travis Scott with Sicko Mode, Cardi B's I Like It, and classics like We Are the Champions by Queen. There's even original music that fits the Atlanta vibe, incorporating hip-hop and R&B elements. It's the kind of score that gets you nodding along and enhances the funny moments. Production-wise, Universal Pictures distributed it, and it was released on September 28, 2018. The runtime is a breezy 111 minutes, perfect for a movie night without feeling too long. It's rated PG-13 for crude and sexual content, language, some drug references, and violence. So it's adult-oriented comedy, but not over-the-top explicit. Fun fact, the idea stemmed from Kevin Hart's own experiences and stand-up bits about education and growing up. Let me tell you more about the making of this film because the behind-the-scenes stories add so much flavor. Kevin Hart has shared in interviews how personal this project was for him. He dropped out of high school himself and got his GED later, so Teddy's journey mirrors parts of his life. He wanted to create a comedy that encourages people to pursue education, partnering with organizations like the United Negro College Fund to promote the message. Tiffany Haddish, fresh off her Emmy win for hosting SNL, brought her real-life teaching experience. She actually taught energy conservation classes before fame, which added authenticity to her role. The filming process was full of improvisation, especially between Hart and Haddish. Malcolm D. Lee encouraged ad-libs, leading to some of the film's funniest moments. There were challenges too, like shooting night scenes to match the night school theme, which meant long hours for the cast. But the camaraderie shone through. Cast members like Romany Malco and Al Madrigal have talked about how the set felt like a family, with everyone bonding over shared laughs. Visually, the movie pops with colorful classroom sets designed by Paul D. Austerberry, who won an Oscar for The Shape of Water. The production design captures the essence of a bustling adult education center. Cluttered desks, motivational posters, and that fluorescent lighting we all remember from school. Costumes by Sakina Brown keep it real. Casual work clothes for the students, professional yet quirky outfits for the teachers. If you're into trivia, here's some gems. Fat Joe's cameo as a prison inmate ties into the story's themes of redemption. Ben Schwartz, voicing Sonic in the movies, adds meta-humor with his tech-savvy character. The film even features a nod to Kevin Hart's height jokes, which fans love. And did you know it was originally titled Night School but considered Back to School before sticking with the original? Why watch it now in 2026? Well, with streaming options galore, it's easy to access on platforms like Netflix or Peacock, depending on your region. In a time when we're all hustling more than ever, Night School's message of resilience hits harder. It's perfect for a group watch, date night, or solo laugh session. Critics might say it's formulaic, but that's what makes it comforting, like comfort food for your funny bone. Let's expand on the cast a bit more because each brings something unique. Rob Riggle, a former Marine, infuses Mackenzie with that disciplined yet clueless energy. Taran Killam, married to Kobe Smulders, draws from his improv skills for Stewart's neurotic side. Megalyn Echikunwoke, of Nigerian descent, adds cultural depth to Lisa. Al Madrigal, a comedian of Mexican heritage, makes Luis relatable for many. Mary Lynn Rajskub's Teresa has that deadpan delivery that's gold. Keith David's Gerald commands respect, his deep voice adding gravitas. Ann Winters, from To All the Boys, brings fresh-faced enthusiasm to Mila. Yvonne Orji, Nigerian-American, makes Maya a standout with her wit. Brescia Webb's Denise is sassy and supportive. The writers' backgrounds are fascinating too. Harry Ratchford and Joey Wells are part of Kevin Hart's comedy crew, the Plastic Cup Boys, so their input ensures authentic street-smart humor. Matthew Kellard comes from TV writing like The Bernie Mac Show. Nicholas Stoller and John Hamburg bring Hollywood polish, with Stoller directing Forgetting Sarah Marshall and Hamburg penning Zoolander. Budget breakdown: that $29 million went to salaries. Kevin and Tiffany likely took big chunks, locations, and marketing. Universal's campaign was massive, with trailers emphasizing the comedy duo's banter. It premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival, building buzz. Reception-wise, audiences loved the empowerment angle. On IMDb, it's got a 5.6 rating from over 40,000 votes, with many praising the laughs and cast. Social media buzzed with memes from key scenes. Without spoilers, think epic classroom fails. Thematically, it explores friendship formed in unlikely places, the value of teachers, and breaking stereotypes. It's inclusive, showing diverse backgrounds uniting for a common goal. In terms of legacy, Night School boosted conversations about adult literacy. Kevin Hart's Heartbeat Productions continues producing uplifting content. Malcolm D. Lee went on to direct Space Jam, a new legacy. If you caught my last rundown, you know the basics. Kevin Hart as the lovable screw-up Teddy Walker, Tiffany Haddish as the tough but fair teacher Carrie, and a whole classroom full of misfits chasing their GEDs under the direction of Malcolm D. Lee. But today, we're going longer, digging into more layers, more fun facts, more behind-the-scenes magic, and all the little details that make this film feel so alive and worth your time. Picture this. You're kicking back after a long day, and this movie hits you with non-stop laughs while quietly reminding you that it's okay to start over. That's the vibe we're chasing here. So settle in, because we're about to unpack everything. No spoilers, just pure enthusiasm and info to get you excited to press play. Let's start by zooming in on the story setup without giving anything away. Teddy's life is cruising along. He's got a good gig selling grills, a fiancée who's got big dreams for him, and he's even got that confident swagger that Kevin Hart does so well. But one chaotic accident flips everything upside down, forcing him to confront something he's avoided for years, going back to school. Not just any school, night school, where adults from all different backgrounds show up because life didn't go exactly as planned the first time around. It's in that classroom that the real magic happens. The group dynamic is electric. You've got people who are skeptical, hopeful, funny in their own quirky ways, and suddenly they're all in this together, dealing with tests, teachers, and their own personal baggage. It's relatable chaos at its best. Who hasn't felt like they needed a do-over? That's why this movie connects so deeply. Malcolm D. Lee's direction keeps everything moving at a perfect pace. He's got this knack for comedy that feels grounded in real emotions. Think back to how Girls Trip captured friendship and fun without ever losing heart. Here, he does the same with education and second chances. The Atlanta setting adds flavor too. The city stands in for itself, with shots of familiar high schools and neighborhoods that make the whole thing feel authentic. Filming took place mostly in Atlanta, and you can sense that local energy in the background, the music choices, even the way characters talk. Greg Gardner's cinematography keeps it bright and lively. No dark, moody shots here. It's all vibrant colors and quick cuts that match the comedy's rhythm. Paul Millspaugh's editing is spot on, never letting a joke linger too long or a scene drag. Now, the cast. Oh man, where do I even start? Kevin Hart isn't just the star. This project is personal for him. He co-wrote the story with his comedy partners Harry Ratchford, Joey Wells, and Matthew Kellard. Then Nicholas Stoller and John Hamburg came in to sharpen the script. Kevin has talked openly about dropping out of high school and getting his GED later, so Teddy's journey draws from real life. He pours that authenticity into every scene, mixing his classic high-energy antics with moments of real vulnerability that make you cheer for him. Tiffany Haddish as Carrie is the perfect counterpoint. She's strict, hilarious, and has this commanding presence that lights up the screen. Their back and forth is gold. They had real-life friendship going in, which made the chemistry effortless. Improv was encouraged big time, especially in the classroom bits. Kevin had lived a ton, and it shows in how natural and unpredictable the laughs feel. The supporting players are a dream team of comedians. Rob Riggle as Mackenzie brings that bombastic, slightly unhinged energy he's mastered in so many films. Romany Malco as Jalen adds smooth confidence and depth. His timing is impeccable. Taran Killam as the uptight Principal Stewart channels his SNL roots for some of the film's biggest awkward laughs. Megalyn Echikunwoke's Lisa is poised and sharp. Al Madrigal's Luis delivers deadpan perfection. Mary Lynn Raichskub's Teresa has that quirky intensity. Keith David's Gerald commands every room he's in with that legendary voice. Ann Winters as Mila brings fresh enthusiasm. Fat Joe's Bobby cameo is pure fun. Ben Schwartz as Marvin is fast-talking hilarity. Yvonne Orji's Maya has that quick wit. And Brescia Webb's Denise rounds out the group with sass and heart. Every single one feels like a real person you'd meet in an adult ed class, diverse, flawed, and funny. Production trivia? Plenty. The film shipped to theaters under the fake title Christian Chickens to keep things under wraps. Classic Hollywood secrecy move. Kevin's Heartbeat Productions teamed with Will Packer Productions, and they partnered with Universal for distribution. Budget was a smart $29 million, focused on cast salaries, practical locations, and letting the comedy shine without heavy effects. It paid off huge, opened #1 with over $27 million in its first weekend, beating out animated films and others. Domestic gross hit about $77.3 million, worldwide over $103 million. That's more than triple the budget, proving audiences loved it. It was the biggest opening for a broad comedy that year, showing how much people crave these kinds of feel-good laughs. Critics were mixed. Rotten Tomatoes sits at around 27% from reviewers, Metacritic at 43%. Some said it leaned on familiar tropes, but audiences gave it way more love. CinemaScore handed out an A-, Post-Track 3.5 out of 5, and on IMDb it's holding steady around 5.6 from tens of thousands of votes. RogerEbert.com gave it 2.5 stars, calling it light and earnest with a great cast. The Hollywood Reporter praised the energy. Variety loved Tiffany's performance. Bottom line, this is a movie made for people, not awards season. It's comforting, funny, and leaves you smiling. The soundtrack pumps up the fun too. David Newman's score mixes upbeat cues with hip-hop and R&B vibes that fit Atlanta perfectly. You'll catch tracks like So Fresh, So Clean by Outkast, Eye of the Tiger by Survivor. For those motivational moments, TY's Whatever You Like, Survivor's classics, and more modern cuts like Found My Vibe or Poppin' Like Champagne. It all ties into the energy of chasing goals and having a good time along the way. Behind the scenes, the set was apparently a blast. Long nights shooting classroom scenes, but the cast bonded like family. Tiffany brought her real teaching experience. She taught classes before fame, adding truth to her role. Kevin pushed for the movie to highlight adult education, even partnering with groups to spread the message. Improv was key. Malcolm let the actors run with it, leading to some of the best lines. Challenges included syncing night shoots to match the night school feel, but the laughs kept everyone going. The production design nails it. Cluttered classrooms, old-school lockers, motivational posters that feel straight out of real life. Costumes are everyday relatable. Teddy's salesman outfits, the students' work clothes, Carrie's teacher chic. It's all grounded, making the absurdity funnier. Fun facts galore. This was Kevin's first time writing a full commercial feature script beyond his stand-up specials. Fat Joe's role ties into redemption themes. Ben Schwartz adds that tech nerd charm. The story nods to Kevin's own height jokes and Philly roots in subtle ways. Filming wrapped in early 2018, premiered at Toronto Film Festival for buzz, then hit theaters September 28th. In today's world, with everyone hustling side gigs, learning new skills online or in person, Night School feels timely. It's about not giving up, supporting each other, and laughing through the struggle. The themes of overcoming learning challenges like dyslexia handled with care and humor make it empowering without being preachy. Runtime's a comfy 111 minutes, PG-13 for language, crude humor, some drug refs, and mild violence. Adult comedy done right. Released on DVD and streaming soon after, it's easy to find now. If you've been with me from the start, you already know the core setup. Kevin Hart as Teddy Walker, a smooth-talking salesman whose life explodes, literally, and sends him straight back to high school. But this time as an adult in night classes chasing that elusive GED. Tiffany Haddish steps in as Carrie, the fierce, no-nonsense teacher who won't let anyone slide. And the whole thing is directed by Malcolm D. Lee with that signature blend of big laughs and real heart. We've covered the cast, the production, the box office triumph, and why it feels so relatable. But there's so much more to unpack. Little gems from behind the scenes, deeper dives into what makes the humor land, the soundtrack that keeps the energy pumping, and even how this movie holds up years later in 2026. So let's keep rolling. Grab another snack because we're going long again, building that perfect 25-minute script vibe for your voiceover. One of the coolest things about Night School is how personal it was for Kevin Hart. This wasn't just another gig. He co-wrote the story with his longtime comedy collaborators Harry Ratchford, Joey Wells, and Matthew Kellard. marking his first time scripting a full commercial feature beyond his stand-up specials. Then, Nicholas Stoller and John Hamburg came on board to refine it, bringing their rom-com polish from things like Neighbors and Meet the Parents. Kevin has shared in interviews how dropping out of high school and later earning his GED shaped him, so Teddy struggles with focus, confidence, and feeling like he missed the boat early on? That's drawn straight from life. He wanted to make something that encouraged folks to go after education no matter their age or setbacks. In press chats around release, he talked about partnering with groups like the United Negro College Fund to push that message. It's not preachy, but it's there, woven into the comedy so it hits without feeling forced. Tiffany Haddish brings her own real-world flavor too. Right after blowing up with Girls Trip, she jumped into this role, and she drew from her pre-fame days teaching energy conservation classes. That experience gave her Carrie this authentic edge. She's tough because she cares, and her unorthodox methods, think intense motivation mixed with zero tolerance for excuses, feel earned. In interviews, Tiffany joked about how glad she was there was no kissing scene with Kevin. "You gross," she said playfully, because their friendship made the on-screen tension way funnier without needing romance. Their chemistry is off the charts because they've known each other for years. Improv flowed freely on set, and Malcolm encouraged it. Cast members have described the atmosphere as a big family hangout. Long nights shooting those classroom scenes, but everyone cracking up between takes, bonding over shared stories of school fails and comebacks. The ensemble really shines when you zoom in. Take Rob Riggle's Mackenzie, this big, lovable guy who spent decades in manual labor and just wants that promotion. His wide-eyed optimism and physical comedy steal scenes. Romany Malco's Jalen brings quiet dignity. He's the guy replaced by a robot at work, now hustling for a better future, relatable in today's job market. Taran Killam's Stuart, the principal, is a riot as Teddy's old high school nemesis turned authority figure. Think uptight nerd with a grudge, complete with a baseball bat nod to lean on me. Megalyn Echikunwoke's Lisa is the polished fiancée who doesn't know the full story at first, adding nice tension. Al Madrigal's Louis starts as a waiter, but ends up in class after a wild misunderstanding. His dry wit is perfect. Mary Lynn Rajskub's Teresa is the exhausted mom juggling kids and dreams. Keith David's Gerald, Teddy's dad, delivers that deep-voiced wisdom. Ann Winter's Mila is the sarcastic rich kid forced into it after a locker incident. Ben Schwartz's Marvin is the fast-talking best friend offering a dream job, if Teddy can just pass. Fat Joe's Bobby joins via video from prison for some redemption laughs. Yvonne Orgy's Maya adds sharp friend energy, and Brescia Webb's Denise rounds out the family with sisterly support. Trivia lovers, listen up. The movie shipped to theaters under the fake title Christian Chickens for secrecy. Classic move. Filming kicked off in Atlanta in September 2017, using real high schools and community spots for that lived-in feel. A geometry problem Teddy tackles is a simple 3-4-5 right triangle, tying into the Pythagorean theorem. Subtle nod for the math fans. Kevin's past co-stars pop up. He worked with Fat Joe in Scary Movie 3 and Romany Malco in The 40-Year-Old Virgin. Stewart's office has a Lean on Me poster, and he carries a bat as a fun homage. The soundtrack keeps the momentum high. David Newman's score mixes energetic cues with Atlanta-flavored hip-hop and R&B. Standouts include Outkast's So Fresh, So Clean for those study vibes, Survivor's Eye of the Tiger for motivational punches, TA's Whatever You Like, tracks like Baby Doll by SoFly and Nias, Found My Vibe by Sarah Bollinger, Catalina, Sunrise on Sunset, Poppin' Like Champagne, and even classics like Queen's We Are the Champions in Spirit. It all amps up the fun without overpowering the jokes. Box office-wise, this was a win. $29 million budget, $103.1 million worldwide, $77.3 million domestic. Opened number one with $27 to $28 million. Best comedy debut of 2018 at the time, beating Smallfoot and others. It had legs too, holding strong in weeks 2 and 3. Critics were lukewarm, 27% on Rotten Tomatoes, 43% on Metacritic, calling it scattershot or safe. But audiences loved it. A cinema score, strong post-track scores. People connected to the underdog story, the diverse group pulling together, and the laughs from real-life adulting struggles. In 2026, you can stream it on Hulu or grab it on Disney+, Prime Video, Apple TV, or rent/buy digitally. It's still easy to find and perfect for a rewatch, especially if you're grinding through your own goals. The message about dyslexia, processing challenges, and tailored learning lands with care and humor. It's empowering. Never too late to level up, friends make the journey bearable, and laughter helps everything. We're still rolling with our deep, heartfelt love letter to night school, the 2018 comedy gem that proves laughter and life lessons make the best combo. If you've been riding along with me through all these segments, you already feel the pull. Kevin Hart's infectious energy as Teddy Walker, Tiffany Haddish's powerhouse presence as the teacher Carrie, Malcolm D. Lee's sharp direction that keeps everything moving like a well-oiled comedy machine. We've talked about the cast's chemistry, the production magic, the box office victory, and why this movie sneaks up on you with real heart. But there's always more to discover. So let's keep peeling back the layers with even more details, more fun stories, more reasons why this film is the perfect pick-me-up you need right now. Imagine yourself curled up on the couch, ready for a night of pure joy. That's the energy we're channeling here. And trust me, by the time we're done, you'll be racing to hit play. One thing that really sets Night School apart is how it captures the messy beauty of adult education. Picture this. A classroom full of grown-ups who aren't there because they want to be cool kids again. They're there because life threw them curveballs. Some lost jobs to automation, some got sidetracked by family, others just never finished high school the first time around. The film never judges. Instead, it celebrates the bravery it takes to show up, pencil in hand, ready to learn. Malcolm D. Lee handles these themes with such warmth. He lets the humor come from the awkwardness, the frustration, the small victories, without ever making anyone the punchline in a mean way. It's comedy that lifts you up, not tears anyone down. The Atlanta filming location adds so much soul. Atlanta isn't just a backdrop, it's practically a character. The city has this vibrant, creative pulse, and you feel it in the way the movie looks and sounds. They shot in real high schools around the area. Think fluorescent lights, echoing hallways, that unmistakable smell of chalk and old textbooks that instantly transports you back. Production designer Paul D. Austerberry, who won an Oscar for The Shape of Water, created sets that feel lived in and authentic. The classroom itself is cluttered in the best way. Posters about perseverance, a globe that's seen better days, desks with graffiti from years past. It all grounds the wild comedy in something real, making every laugh feel earned. Costume designer Sakina Brown nailed the everyday look, too. Teddy's outfits scream successful salesman trying to keep it together. Crisp button-downs, nice watches, that confident swagger in his step. Carrie's teacher wardrobe is professional, but with personality. Blazers with flair, bold colors that match her no-nonsense attitude. The rest of the students? Their clothes tell their stories. Work uniforms still on from the day shift. Casual jeans for the single mom juggling everything, a hoodie for the guy who just wants to blend in. It's those little visual details that make you believe these people are real. Let's talk more about the writing process, because it's fascinating how this script came together. Kevin Hart brought the initial idea from his own life and stand-up material, bits about school struggles, adulting fails, and the fear of looking dumb. He collaborated with his Plastic Cup Boys crew, Harry Ratchford, Joey Wells, and Matthew Kellard, who know his comedic voice inside out. Then Nicholas Stoller, the mastermind behind Forgetting Sarah Marshall and Bad Neighbors, jumped in to tighten the structure and add that polished rom-com rhythm. John Hamburg, who wrote Meet the Parents and Along Came Polly, brought even more sharp dialogue. The result is a script that's packed with rapid-fire jokes, but also has breathing room for quieter, character-driven moments. It's the perfect balance. Improvisation was a huge part of the magic on set. Malcolm D. Lee is known for giving actors freedom, and Kevin and Tiffany took full advantage. Many of the biggest laughs, those classroom outbursts, the heated exchanges, the random outbursts of frustration, came from the actors riffing off each other. The cast has said in interviews that the set felt like summer camp for comedians. Long hours, but constant laughter, inside jokes, and a real sense of camaraderie. Rob Riggle, Taran Killam, Al Madrigal, all these improv pros brought their A-game, turning scripted lines into something even funnier. The soundtrack deserves another shout-out because it keeps the whole movie bouncing. David Newman's score is upbeat and playful, weaving in hip-hop beats and soulful grooves that scream Atlanta. You'll hear classics like Outcast's So Fresh, So Clean during study montages, Survivor's Eye of the Tiger when motivation kicks in, T.I.'s Whatever You Like for those feel-good vibes. There's Baby Doll by So Fly and Nias, Catalina, Sunrise on Sunset, Poppin' Like Champagne. Every track feels chosen to match the mood, whether it's pumping you up for a test or celebrating a breakthrough. It all flows so naturally that the music becomes part of the comedy. Years after its release, Night School still holds up beautifully. In 2026, with so many of us still navigating career changes, online learning, or just trying to skill up, the movie's message feels even more relevant. It's a reminder that education isn't just for kids, it's for anyone brave enough to keep growing. The way it handles learning differences, like dyslexia with humor and empathy, is especially powerful. Teddy's journey isn't about becoming a genius overnight. It's about finding the right tools, the right support, and believing in yourself. That's the kind of inspiration that sticks with you long after the credits roll. The film's legacy is quiet but meaningful. It helped spark conversations about adult literacy and GED programs. Kevin Hart has used it as a platform to encourage people to go back to school, even partnering with organizations to spread the word. Malcolm D. Lee continued his streak of crowd-pleasing comedies, and the cast, especially Tiffany Haddish, saw their stars rise even higher. For fans of feel-good comedies, Night School sits right alongside classics like The Hangover or Bridesmaids, not because it's the same, but because it delivers the same kind of joy. Big laughs, big heart, and a story that makes you root for everyone on screen. Trivia keeps coming too. The fake working title Christian Chickens was used to throw off paparazzi. Kevin Hart's character name, Teddy Walker, nods to his love of nicknames and his real-life energy. Stewart's baseball bat is a direct tribute to Joe Clark from Lean on Me, a fun Easter egg for movie buffs. Fat Joe's prison cameo was shot in one day, but his presence adds instant charm. Ben Schwartz's fast-talking Marvin is basically a live-action version of his animated Sonic voice. Quick, clever, and endlessly entertaining. We're deep into our epic breakdown of Night School, the 2018 comedy that's pure fun wrapped in heart, starring Kevin Hart and Tiffany Haddish under Malcolm D. Lee's direction. We've covered the plot setup without spoilers, the stellar cast, the Atlanta vibes, the production details, the box office success, the soundtrack energy, and why it still feels fresh in 2026. But there's even more gold to mine, more trivia, more quotes from the stars, more behind-the-scenes flavor, and all the little reasons this flick keeps winning people over. So let's keep the momentum going. Picture us chilling with endless popcorn, geeking out over every detail that makes Night School such a blast. One standout element is how the writers built the student characters like a perfect mix of real-life reasons people end up in adult ed. Each classmate has a backstory that feels authentic, not over-the-top dramatic, but grounded enough to make you nod along. There's the guy who's been grinding manual labor for decades and just wants a desk job upgrade, the hardworking mom who got derailed young and is pushing through for her family, the laid-off factory worker replaced by tech, the waiter who gets caught in Teddy's wild scheme, and more. The writers, Kevin Hart, Harry Ratchford, Joey Wells, Matthew Kellard, Nicholas Stoller, and John Hamburg, iterated on these roles through drafts, tweaking until they landed a round robin of relatable struggles. It's that diversity of experience that makes the group feel like a real class, not just comedy props. Kevin Hart has called this his first big swing at writing a full commercial feature script, pulling from his own high school dropout story and GED journey. In interviews around release, he emphasized wanting to create something that motivates people to pursue education later in life. He partnered with organizations to amplify that message, turning the laughs into subtle inspiration. Tiffany Haddish, coming off her massive girls' trip wave and even hosting SNL, brought her own teaching background. She once taught energy conservation classes, which gave Carrie that real authority mixed with wild humor. In one chat, she laughed about being glad there was no romance angle. Me being in love with Kevin? You gross. He's like my brother. Their sibling-like friendship made the banter effortless and electric. No forced sparks, just pure comedic fire. The improv-heavy set was apparently legendary. Malcolm D. Lee loves giving actors room to play. So many lines, especially in the classroom chaos, came from the cast riffing. Kevin, Tiffany, Riggle, Taran Killam, Al Madrigal, all comedy vets, turned scripted moments into gold. One writer noted how the film evolved from notes, adding set pieces like the early explosion that kicks everything off, painting Teddy as someone with a flashy life built on shaky foundations. The principal's office has a Lean on Me poster, and Stewart's baseball bat is a direct nod to that classic. Fun little homage for film fans. Trivia keeps piling up. Kevin previously worked with Fat Joe in Scary Movie 3 and Romany Malco in The 40-Year-Old Virgin, so those reunions added extra warmth. The fake title Christian Chickens during production, a spoofy cover for secrecy, ties into Teddy's brief chicken suit gig at a restaurant parodying fast food chains, complete with prayer circles and honk if you love the Lord antics. Filming started in September 2017 in Atlanta, wrapping by early 2018, with principal photography capturing that authentic school feel in real locations. The soundtrack is a total vibe booster. David Newman's score keeps things lively, but the songs steal scenes. Outkast's So Fresh, So Clean during study attempts. Survivor's Eye of the Tiger for those pump-up moments. Jermaine Dupri's I've Got to Have It in the Salon. And more like Whatever You Like by T.I. Plus tracks like Baby Doll, Catalina, Sunrise on Sunset, and Poppin' Like Champagne. Luis singing along while driving or during a prom slow dance bit? Instant mood lifter. Even Queen's spirit echoes in the triumphant feels. Box office numbers confirm the love. $29 million budget, $77.3 million domestic, $103.1 million worldwide, solid legs with a $27.3 million opening weekend that topped the charts. It beat animated competition and held strong, proving comedies with Hart still draw crowds. Critics were split, some called it safe or scattered, but audiences handed out A cinema scores and strong word of mouth. On the big screen with a crowd, the laughs hit harder. Editor Paul Millspaugh, a Malcolm regular, packs in punchy rhythms, so even looser scenes land gags. In interviews, Kevin and Tiffany talked about how the night school setting is comedy gold because everyone can relate. The fear of tests, the quirky classmates, the teacher who pushes you. Tiffany said the environment lets people see themselves or friends, taking away a valuable message amid the chaos. Kevin echoed that it's about understanding struggles and growth. Their real-life high school stories came up too. Both had wild experiences that fueled the authenticity. Even the rating fits perfectly. PG-13 for crude humor, language, some drug references, and mild violence. Enough edge for adult laughs without going overboard. Parental guides note innuendos, but it's all played for comedy. The film's quiet impact? It spotlighted adult literacy and second chances, even inspiring talk of an NBC series spin-off, though it didn't fully launch. And we're keeping the good times rolling with our ultimate guide to night school, the 2018 comedy that's all about big laughs, second chances, and that unbeatable Kevin Hart-Tiffany Haddish combo directed by Malcolm D. Lee. By now, you've got the full picture. Teddy's wild life crash lands him in adult night classes for his GED, surrounded by a hilarious crew of misfits, taught by the fierce Carrie who won't take any nonsense. We've explored the cast chemistry, Atlanta filming vibes, production trivia, soundtrack energy, box office wins, and why it still hits hard today. But let's dive even deeper into the fun stuff. More behind-the-scenes secrets, star interviews, soundtrack specifics, awards nods, and all those little details that make rewatching this movie feel like hanging with old friends. Settle in. We're making this one epic so you can copy-paste straight into your text-to-voice setup for that full 25-minute vibe. One of the coolest things fans love pointing out is how much improvisation shaped the film. Kevin Hart has said in interviews that Malcolm D. Lee gave the cast tons of freedom, especially in the classroom scenes. Kevin improvised a bunch of his lines and interactions with the students, those spontaneous outbursts, the quick comebacks, the physical comedy bits that feel so natural. A lot came from the moment. The director encouraged it because it made everything feel more real and alive, turning the script into something even funnier. Tiffany Haddish echoed that in chats, saying their long friendship made riffing effortless. They'd crack each other up between takes, and some of those genuine laughs made it into the final cut. There are even gag reels and bloopers floating around online where you can see the cast losing it completely. Kevin and Tiffany especially, with Rob Riggle and the others piling on. It's that kind of set energy that translates to screen joy. In press rounds, Kevin opened up about why this story mattered so much. He came up with the original idea, drawing from his own high school dropout days and getting his GED later. He wanted a comedy that showed it's okay to struggle, to need help, and to keep pushing. In one interview, he talked about how night school is the perfect comedy setting because everyone's hiding something. Insecurities, past failures, big dreams, and when you throw them together, the chaos is gold. Tiffany added her take, joking about her real-life teaching gigs before fame and how Carrie channels that no excuses vibe she knows well. She said working with Kevin felt like family. They'd tease each other nonstop, but it always came from love. In a Times Talks discussion, they riffed on their comedy styles, Kevin's high-energy physical stuff versus Tiffany's bold storytelling delivery, and how it clicked perfectly here. The soundtrack list is packed with bangers that elevate every scene. David Newman's score keeps the pace lively, but the songs are what stick. So Fresh, So Clean by Outkast plays early when Teddy tries studying, setting that smooth Atlanta tone. Eye of the Tiger by Survivor pumps up the motivation during montages. I've Got to Have It by Jermaine Dupri, featuring Monica blasts in the beauty salon scene. Other highlights include Graduated by Trinidad James featuring the Hipster Orchestra over the end credits, plus tracks like Whatever You Like by T.I., and fun ones like Luis singing along while driving or during a slow dance moment at prom. The music mixes old-school classics with modern hip-hop and R&B, perfectly capturing the film's uplifting, party-like energy without overwhelming the jokes. Box office-wise, the numbers tell a success story. Made for $29 million, it grossed $77.3 million domestically and $103.1 million worldwide. That's over 3 times the budget. It opened huge with $27.3 million in its first weekend, including previews, topping the charts and marking the best comedy opening of 2018. It had solid legs too, holding in the top spots for weeks. Critically mixed, 27% on Rotten Tomatoes, 43% on Metacritic. But audiences gave it an A cinema score and strong post-track ratings. People loved the heart and laughs. It even snagged some award nods, like Teen Choice Awards nominations for Choice Comedy Movie Actor for Kevin and Choice Comedy Movie Actress for Tiffany in 2019. Not Oscar bait, but proof the crowd-pleasing vibe resonated. More trivia gems. This was Kevin's first time writing a full commercial feature, beyond specials, shipped under the fake title Christian Chickens for secrecy, a nod to one of Teddy's ridiculous side gigs in a chicken suit at a parody fast food spot. The Principal Stewart's baseball bat and office poster reference Lean on Me, a cool homage. Carrie's hexagon fart scene has a tiny science goof. Methane is in farts, but the joke plays anyway. Behind-the-scenes clips show dance battle rehearsals between Kevin and Tiffany. Pure fun energy. The set in Atlanta was buzzing. BET did episodes visiting, capturing the cast, joking, and bonding. Years later, Night School's charm endures because it's relatable escapism. In a world of constant hustle, seeing adults chase education with humor and support feels good. The diverse cast represents real people, different ages, backgrounds, struggles, uniting for a common goal. It's not trying to be groundbreaking, it's trying to make you laugh and feel seen. Kevin's over-the-top antics, Tiffany's commanding sass, the ensemble's quirks, it all works because they care about the characters. We're powering through our massive love fest for Night School, the 2018 comedy masterpiece that brings non-stop laughs, real heart, and that unbeatable duo of Kevin Hart and Tiffany Haddish, all wrapped up in Malcolm D. Lee's clever direction. We've hit so many angles already. The relatable adult ed setup, where Teddy Walker blows up his life, figuratively and literally, and ends up chasing his GED in night classes. The stacked cast of quirky classmates, the Atlanta authenticity, production smarts, soundtrack bangers, box office glow-up, and why it still feels like comfort comedy gold in 2026. But there's always more to celebrate, so let's keep unpacking the extras. Hilarious bloopers, memorable lines that stick with you, behind-the-scenes dance battles and interviews, and those little fun facts that make you appreciate the movie even more. Imagine this as your extended movie night companion. Cozy, funny, and full of energy to keep you hooked till the end. The bloopers and gag reel for Night School are absolute gold. If you grab the Blu-ray or digital extended cut, you get about 60 minutes of bonus content, including deleted scenes and outtakes that show just how much fun the cast had. Kevin Hart and Tiffany Haddish crack up constantly, with Rob Riggle, Al Madrigal, and the others piling on. There's this one bit where they're trying to stay serious during a classroom scene, but someone breaks and it snowballs into everyone losing it. Kevin's high-pitched laughs, Tiffany's infectious cackle, it's like watching friends mess around, not pros on set. In interviews, they've shared how those long nights in Atlanta led to real bonding. The improv didn't stop when the cameras cut. One clip has them rehearsing a dance battle, Kevin teasing Tiffany about her flat fake feet and her firing back that he's no expert. Pure, playful roasting that mirrors their on-screen vibe. That extended cut is worth seeking out if you love the movie. It adds deleted moments that flesh out the characters even more, like extra classroom antics and side stories that didn't make the theatrical version. Memorable lines? Oh man, this film is quotable heaven. Carrie drops gems like, "I don't even eat Cheetos." You know why? Because it sounds like cheaters. Classic Tiffany Haddish wordplay that had theaters roaring. Jalen chimes in with, "Plus that Cheeto dust give you that Trump color for an extra layer of shade." Teddy's freak out when he learns about his challenges. "Oh my God, I got learning herpes. I got the gift that keeps on giving." It's self-deprecating but empowering in a weird way. Then there's the iconic training scene where Carrie demands, "What's the square root of 81?" and Teddy's clueless, "What?" leads to her dramatic takedown. Clinically dumb becomes her diagnosis, and he flips it into the gift that keeps on giving. Stewart's awkward, "I'm the principal of this school. I can do whatever I want." "You're in my house," gets called out with Teddy asking, "Are you using a black voice?" Sharp, funny, and perfectly timed. These lines land because they're delivered with such chemistry. Kevin's quick wit bounces off Tiffany's bold delivery like ping pong. Behind-the-scenes interviews reveal how personal this was. Kevin and Tiffany talked real high school stories. Both had wild teen years, with Kevin dropping out and Tiffany navigating tough spots. In one sit-down, they hilariously recounted teachers who inspired them, sharing sweet anecdotes about educators who believed in them despite the odds. Kevin emphasized night school as comedy gold because everyone's vulnerable there, hiding insecurities while chasing dreams. Tiffany loved the no romance angle. "Kevin's like my brother. You gross." Their friendship made everything authentic. They filmed in Atlanta and both raved about the city's energy, food, music, people, making long shoots feel like a party. One featurette shows them on set with BET, goofing around and sharing war stories with the crew. Fun facts keep coming. Kevin improvised tons of classroom bits, encouraged by Malcolm to make it feel natural. The principal's Lean on Me references, bat, poster, are loving nods to education movies. Goofs are minor, like a repeated clip in intros, but they don't detract. The dance battle rehearsal footage is hilarious. Kevin jokes about his little legs. Tiffany fires back, he's no pro. Deleted scenes include more group dynamics and extra fails that amp the comedy. Even the soundtrack has hidden gems. So Fresh, So Clean by Outkast for study vibes, Eye of the Tiger for motivation, I've Got to Have It by Jermaine Dupri in the Salon, Graduated by Trinidad James over credits, plus Whatever You Like by T.I., Poppin' Like Champagne, and others that fit the Atlanta soul perfectly. We're still cruising strong through our ultimate no-holds-barred celebration of Night School, the 2018 comedy that somehow manages to be wildly funny, genuinely warm, and quietly motivational all at the same time. Kevin Hart as Teddy Walker, Tiffany Haddish as the unstoppable Carrie, Malcolm D. Lee steering the ship with perfect comedic timing. We've unpacked so much already. The explosive life reset that lands Teddy in adult night classes, the diverse and lovable group of classmates chasing their GEDs, the Atlanta flavor baked into every frame, the improv magic on set, the killer soundtrack, the box office triumph, the quotable lines, the bloopers goldmine, and why this movie still feels like a hug in 2026. But there's always one more layer to peel back, so let's keep going with even more goodies. Extended cut secrets, fan-favorite moments, real-life parallels, and every tiny reason this film deserves your next movie night slot. If you haven't grabbed the extended or Blu-ray version yet, you're missing out on some serious bonus treasure. The home release packs in roughly an hour of extras, a full gag reel that's basically a masterclass in how comedians break character, deleted scenes that add extra depth to the classroom crew, and featurettes where the cast and crew spill all the tea. One standout is the Making Night School piece. They show rehearsal footage of the big dance battle between Kevin and Tiffany. Kevin's cracking jokes about his little man energy, and Tiffany's roasting him right back about his footwork. You see them practicing moves that didn't even make the final cut. But the playful rivalry is exactly what makes their scenes pop. Another deleted bit fleshes out more of the students' personal stakes, extra conversations about why they're really there, small wins and setbacks that build the group bond even stronger. It's not essential for the main story, but it makes rewatches richer because you feel like you know these people inside out. Fan favorite moments keep popping up whenever people talk about this movie. That early scene where Teddy tries to explain himself to Carrie and she just stares him down with zero sympathy? Iconic. Or the geometry meltdown where everything spirals into pure chaos. The way Kevin sells the panic while Tiffany stays stone-cold calm is comedy timing perfection. Then there's the prom sequence, the awkward dancing, the heartfelt talks, the way the whole class rallies in their own weird way. It hits that sweet spot between silly and touching. And don't sleep on the little side gags. Stuart's lean on me-inspired bat-swinging threats, Luis's deadpan reactions to everything, Mackenzie's wide-eyed enthusiasm that borders on delusional. These bits are the glue that keeps you smiling even when the jokes slow down for a second. The real-life parallels add another level of charm. Kevin Hart has been super open about how much of Teddy mirrors his own path, dropping out, hustling through odd jobs, eventually circling back to education. In one interview, he said something like, "I wanted to make a movie where people see it's okay to fail the first time around. Hell, I failed spectacularly." Tiffany brought her own stories of tough teachers who pushed her and funny ones who made school bearable. Malcolm D. Lee has talked about wanting to show education as something joyful instead of punishing, especially for adults who feel like they've missed the boat. The film never lectures, but those personal touches make the message land softer and stick longer. Soundtrack deep cuts deserve another moment too. Beyond the big hits like Outkast, Survivor, and T.I., there are sleeper tracks that tie scenes together beautifully. Graduated by Trinidad James plays over the credits and feels like a victory lap. The way So Fresh, So Clean underscores those quiet study attempts gives the whole thing this cool, laid-back Atlanta soul. Even smaller cues, a funky beat during a quick montage, a soul sample when someone's having a breakthrough. David Newman and the music supervisors nailed the balance of hype and heart. Production nuggets keep surfacing. The chicken suit job Teddy takes briefly? That whole sequence was built around Kevin's love of physical comedy, running around in costume, dealing with customers, the prayer circle bit. It's absurd, but so him. The fake working title, Christian Chickens, during filming was partly inspired by that very gag. Filming nights were long because they had to match the night school lighting. Dark outside windows, bright classroom fluorescents, but the cast turned those hours into hangout sessions. Keith David, with his legendary voice, would read lines in different accents just to mess with everyone. Ann Winters and Brescia Webb brought youthful energy that balanced the older cast members perfectly. Every piece fits. In today's world, January 2026, people still grinding side hustles, picking up new skills online or in person, dealing with setbacks, night school feels almost prophetic. It's not about being perfect. It's about showing up, laughing at the mess, leaning on people who get it, and crossing the finish line however you can. The diversity of the class, ages, backgrounds, reasons for being there, mirrors real adult ed programs everywhere. It's inclusive without forcing it, funny without being cruel, hopeful without being cheesy. So here's the pitch one more time. If you want a movie that delivers wall-to-wall laughs, a cast firing on all cylinders, a soundtrack that slaps, and a sneaky good message about never giving up on yourself, Night School is it. Kevin Hart at his most charismatic and vulnerable, Tiffany Haddish owning every scene she's in, Malcolm D. Lee keeping the pace crisp and the heart open. It's the full package. Grab the theatrical cut for the tight experience, or the extended for the extras. Dim the lights, turn up the volume, and let this classroom full of dreamers take you on a ride. You'll finish smiling, maybe even a little motivated to tackle whatever's on your own plate.